Alright, so today I'll be presenting about the school counselors and what they do here at Winfield High School and my experience here as an intern. So what exactly is a school counselor and what do they do? So they are vital members of the educational team. So they help students understand and overcome social behaviors. They work with students to develop different skills such as organizing, time management, and good study habits. They help students set realistic goals for academic and career. They teach students on different topics such as bullying, drug abuse, and also planning for college and careers as well. They evaluate the students' abilities through assessments, so that's going to look like ECT, SAT, EOCs. They also identify and report possible cases of neglect or abuse, and within some of these cases, you also hotline if needed. And then refer students and parents to resources that might be outside the school, which we'll talk a little bit later about what resources are available within Winfield. So the main goal for a school counselor can be very different day to day. Overall goal is to get students to college and career ready, whatever that looks like for each individual student. But mostly their daily goal is to have the students in the right frame of mind to be able to go to class and be able to learn. And one of the big things I wanted to touch up with being a school counselor or any kind of counselor or working with students mostly is confidentiality. So the state of being kept a secret or keeping something private. And I really like the picture that my supervisor has in her office that says what you say in here stays in here unless someone is hurting you, you want to hurt someone, you want to hurt yourself, or you give me, as in the counselor, permission to share with a trusted adult. And so I added the question, when and what is appropriate for a counselor to inform another staff member within the school? Mainly it's whatever the parent has given permission to tell. And you only give as much information to the staff as they need to know. And so I have an example on the next slide. So if a student states they have suicidal ideations, you'll conduct a threat assessment. That will also look like contacting Jenna from Kreider if needed. And we'll talk about Kreider a little bit later too. The counselor will call the parent and inform them of the situation and request the student be sent to the hospital for evaluation. And so if they aren't sent to the hospital for evaluation, that is also criteria for a hotline if needed. And you would also, what you might tell the staff in the situation is that the student is just not feeling well and they had to go home. If the student wants to come back and give permission to the counselor to tell teachers, they can, but it's up to the student and the parent, depending on age. And so one of the main things that counselors do is we stick to the Comprehensive School Guidance Program, which is set by DESE or in the state, and even some federal things that tell us what we need to be doing within this position. So about 80 to 85% of the time should be indirect student time. So that's guidance curriculum, that's individual student planning, and that's also responsive services. So we'll first start off with guidance curriculum. So what does that mean? Those are large structure, group, and classroom presentation and lessons. They'll be organized usually around the areas of academic development, career development, and personal development for the students. So what I've seen here at Winfield is we use some lessons from PBS. I've been working on Missouri Connections with a lot of students while my internship is here, and we'll talk about that again more in the next slide. And then also 4-year plan revisions, which is also a part of individual student planning. And currently we're also doing an advisory challenge. And so that's not really a curriculum, but it's kind of to give the students some social skills, some personal skills, and even to have some friendly look at what competition should look like. And so I wanted to touch base on Missouri Connections. And each student, from when I worked with them, each student would take a career cluster test, and results will be ranked by the students' answers according to their career cluster. So this test could have been online with Missouri Connections, or it could have been in the packet. And then after the students receive their results, they'll rank their interest areas 1 through 3, and will mostly focus on the top 3, rather than everything on the list. So when it comes to the freshmen, you'll explore their interests and values according to their dream career. So we look at their dream career, and we assess and see what they scored with their career cluster and if that lines up, if that's realistic. If it not, we might look at their second option. And then they can go into the book, and then they can look at what careers are within that career cluster. And then when it comes to the sophomores, we start to explore the skills they need for their dream career, and making sure that they have appropriate skills for that career. And then for juniors, we explore the job application process and interview process. So we just tell them what a job application is. We can give them mock-up ones, and then I'll have mock interviews, and also let them know what should be worn, what should be said, and how to do the research before an interview process. And then for the seniors, they create a resume based on what they've done in high school so that they can use that in college, or even if they go straight to a career. And we also sign up for a job shadow opportunity. And then I really wanted to touch base on why Missouri Connections is important, because within the high school, it helps the counselors create schedules based on the students' interests, their skills, and their post-high school goals. So for instance, if you want to be an engineer and your career cluster show that that is good with your interests, then when we do schedules, we're going to make sure that you are in math and science classes, because that's a lot of what you're going to be taking in college. And so it also helps the students explore their values and interests for future plans. Because if a student doesn't know what they want to do, this is a great way to show, well, hey, this is where your interests are, and these are the jobs within that interest. And so we'll go into the next section of the guidance program. It's individual student planning. So what does this one mean? It's educational and occupational planning and placement. So students, along with parents and the counselor, will evaluate their educational goals, their occupational goals, and their personal goals. So this will look like individual appraisal, educational and career planning, and transitioning planning. And so one of these things that I've been seeing mostly the past week is shadow days. So we bring up the middle schools, or the middle schoolers to the high school, and they get to spend a day with a shadow buddy. And then from high school to post-secondary school, these look like college days or college visits, or even when someone from the college comes here to either assess, tell you about the college, or even to help you register. And then high school to a career, what I've noticed, it's a lot of, you can do the technical school, the mentor program, job shadowing, and even just asking questions about that career. And then another thing that I've really been able to be a part of and see is this transcript process, learning about transcripts and meeting with the students and making sure that they're meeting their credits, they're passing their classes, and they're going to be able to graduate and either have A+ or honors, or just go straight to a career, but making sure they get that high school diploma. And so the last part that should be spent 80% on is responsive services. And so those are activities designed to meet immediate needs and concerns of the students. That can either look like counseling, individual counseling, small group counseling, consultation, and even referrals. So for example, we would have consultation with parents just to say what's going on with their kiddo and what's going on in classes, and if they're struggling or if they've gotten better. And then other educators, so just seeing what it's like in the classroom, or even doing observations within the classroom. And other community agencies, because there's a lot of resources that Winfield has that we can refer to them, like Writer Counselor, which I have up here, and we'll talk more about that later as well. And then individual crisis counseling is available at the school, but because of the caseload is 1 to about 250 students, we can't always do that successfully every week, and so that is another reason why we refer. But of course, we will help you in those crisis situations. All right, and the last part of the counseling program is system support, which 15 to 20% should be indirect services like system support, and that is management activities for establishing, maintaining, and enhancing the total comprehensive program. So this can look like program management, fair share responsibilities, professional development, staff and community relations, committee participation, community outreach, and research and development. So for example, what I've seen within at Winfield is for professional development, it's always those every day or those every other Wednesdays that have early outs, and also webinars, and even going to conferences and stuff can just help you get that knowledge and getting new information and just always learning. Collaborations with other counselors as well, just making sure the counselors within the district and within the building are communicating and knowing what's going on and helping each other. Teachers, making sure that everyone's still doing well in the classroom, the grades are getting, or assignments are getting turned in, and then even with the administration. And a lot of system support is also evaluations and accountability, so that can look like student evaluations, parents evaluation, teachers evaluation, principal evaluation, and also self-evaluations. It's just making sure that the program is doing what it's supposed to be doing and it's being used throughout the counseling, the program, the building, and even the district. And then I kind of want to talk about the Winfield High School's collaboration, what resources they have. So once a month we attend an interagency meeting, and just some of the people who are there are Crier Center, which is the counseling center, DFS, Community Opportunities, SSM, the hospital, St. Joseph and Ann, another hospital, Juvenile Center, and the Child Center. And sometimes there's more and sometimes there's less at the interagency meetings, but it's an opportunity to come together and make sure that the families and the students of this district are getting the services they need or starting services they need. Just making sure that we're providing everything that we can for the students and the families within the district. And then I added some other things like the lead school and other outside placements, just for students who work better with a different setting that's not a public school, a more specialized setting for them. And then another thing I wanted to showcase is kind of the programs that Winfield High School has. So some of the things they do is like the Winfield Warrior tickets, where students can do something positive and do something good, and then they get put in for a weekly drawing, a monthly drawing, and even a semester drawing. Shadow days, which I've mentioned earlier for the middle schoolers. Give respect, get respect, and I'll talk more about that on the next slide. A+ tutoring for those who want to go to a community college or even get some scholarships at other colleges, but it's a good way to get them involved doing volunteer work. PBIS, Lincoln Technical Center they work with, credit recovery, options program, and one thing that I haven't really been a part of because it happens in the fall is the Career and College Fair. And so, like I said, I want to touch base on Give Respect, Get Respect program, which is a youth diversity and inclusion program. So this is set up in Troy with Toyota Bodine and Diversity Awareness Program. So this is an educational program that encourages schools throughout the greater St. Louis area in an effort to address diversity in today's schools and encourage respect and acceptance among students. So here at Winfield High School, we send 4 students every year, and they attend 5 different sessions throughout the year. So the first one would be an overview of what's going to happen, what this program is, why we're doing this program, and then the other ones their topics are race, religion, disability, and the one that I was able to attend this semester was sexual orientation and gender identity. So what these look like is they bring someone from the community who can relate to the 4 different topics, and they bring them in, they teach the students about them. So the one I would attend, they brought in an improv group from St. Louis, and taught the students about LGBTQIA, and just told them what each letter meant, what it was like to live like that and survive in the world, and what it's like to learn and their struggles. And it's just a great opportunity. It was a great opportunity for me and for the students to kind of come together with other students in the area and learn about these different diversities that you might not be a part of or you might not see on a daily basis, and kind of put yourself into their shoes and see how they struggle, how they live. All right. And so, is there any questions?
Which aspect of counseling do you feel is the most helpful to students?
I think there's a lot, mostly here at Winfield, that are helpful to students. I think it's great that the counselors always have an open door policy. They're always welcome to encourage for responsive services. And I also think it's great they meet with the students at least twice a year to work on their individual student planning, making sure that they are passing their classes or what we need to do to help you pass those classes, and that you're on your way to graduation. I just think the counselors here are very aware of the struggles of the students and are there to help them. So I think with most of how the program's supposed to go, I think it helps the students if it's being done correctly, and I feel like that's the case here.
You mentioned shadow days. Can you explain that a little more?
So the shadow days, we first go to the middle school, or IC, which is the local Catholic middle school, for students who are going to be transitioning into here at Winfield High School. So we go to them, we talk to them, answer any questions, and of course get parent permission for them to come to Winfield High School. And it's about one class a day, so it's not everyone coming. And they have a buddy who meets the criteria, and they follow them around every day, attend their classes, see the homework that they're doing, see how they communicate with the teachers, see just how the environment here is at high school, because it's going to be a little bit different, if not a lot different, from where they went to middle school. And then after the end of the day, we get together with the counselors and all the middle schoolers who were here that day and talk to them, make sure they had questions, see how their experience was, and also start planning for next year for the scheduling. So they have an idea of what their schedule is also going to look like next year. All right, I think that's it. But if anyone has any other questions, no? Well, thank you.